So about 6 years ago, I started going to the gym, and it basically revolutionized my life and dramatically changed um, everything that I do. And I highly recommend that you start going to the gym as well. um, and the reason why I had to start going to the gym was because at that point, about 6 years ago, I got to the point where I was struggling to walk, and it was so I had a treadmill. I've had a treadmill for ever since I was a teenager, and I would force myself to walk for about an hour and a half, and by this point I was bawling my eyes out, just trying to walk on the treadmill. So I would force myself to walk, and I would cry and cry and cry because of how agonizingly painful just walking on the treadmill was. But I would force myself to walk because I had it in my head the that I could not stop walking. If I stopped walking, then all hope would be lost. So, and the reason why it was so painful is because I have a chronic pain condition, and basically I'm in pain pretty much all of the time. No matter what I'm doing, I exist in pain. And it was getting really, really bad. Pain was crippling everything I was doing, and I was getting terrified. I was getting really, really scared at this point. That I couldn't really do anything. I was my whole life was shrinking down into like a really small black hole of nothingness. And I was scared. I was really, really scared. That that there was going to be nothing else other than just existing in pain, and I couldn't see a way forward. But I knew, like, I was taken to like a very, very dark place, and I remember that I was standing in front of the mirror, and looked at myself and I said, "Okay, you have got two choices here. Well, you've got a choice here. Where are you going to be in 5 years?" And I'm like, I don't see a future. I don't see it. And I'm like, okay, how are you going to change this? You have to do something to change this. If you don't see a future in 5 years, if you see that you're not going to be here in 5 years, you need to fix that, Kylie. Do something. And then that was the question of, what are you going to do to fix that? And so I didn't like the idea of people coming in to help me do my housework. I didn't like the idea of people coming to help me do the yard work or maintain the house. I really wanted to try and be independent myself. It was really important to me as a person because, like, I have always had the dream of getting married and having kids and maintaining my house, and that's been really fundamentally important to me as a person. Like, this is, and I know that sounds ridiculous to a lot of other women out there who absolutely hate housework, but being able to do housework is really, really important to me. And I don't know if it's just because I see it as a privilege. My pain, I see, because I'm in so much pain, I see being able to move and being able to do housework as like this, that I can actually still do it, and I can do it myself, and it means something to me to be able to do the housework, I suppose. But at that point, 6 years ago, I was incapable of doing anything, especially not housework. And it was so frustrating. So I was so angry at myself. So angry, so bitter at this inability to be able to do anything. And I must have been a miserable person. So I got some help from my uncle who started massaging me. He's a masseurist, and that kick-started me being able to move just a little bit better. And that got me thinking of, well, what else can I do? So I started looking at the possibility of going to the gym nearby, which there costs money. So I started saving up money to get a trainer, because of course I wasn't going to go to the gym just blind. I had no idea what to do. So I was like, okay, I can save up money to get a trainer. And my birthday was coming up, so my parents were like, okay, we'll pay for the first 3 months and see how you go. Just 3 months. And then I paid for the trainer. And best decision I have ever made. I loved it. I loved the gym. It was incredible. It wasn't easy. It was really hard to go in to a place that was, I'd never even gone. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to lift weights. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a woman in my late 30s going into a just random space. I don't know what I'm doing. But I loved it. I love lifting heavy. It feels so freeing. There's something about going in there and just lifting weights and just forgetting about all of the troubles. And I went in and I was like, I'm not here to lose any weight. I'm here to get strong so that I can do my housework. Okay. And I wanted to get strong so that I was able to hold myself up when I was in pain, and so that, if I went out and did the shopping, I would no longer feel like I was going to fall down and in mid walk and lose my footing and be incapable of, lifting all the bags into the back of the car. And that's all I wanted, was to be able to be strong enough to be able to maintain myself. And I felt that, if that was the victory that I walked away from, was being strong enough to be able to do my housework, then it would be just worth it. It would be so worth it. And here I am 6 years later, and it has been the best decision. Yes, sure, I haven't been able to get out and meet people and magic. It hasn't magically taken away my pain. I haven't, I haven't been able to, I haven't miraculously met a guy or, had kids or anything like that in the past 6 years. But every single Wednesday I clean my house, and I have done that consistently for the past 4 years. And I feel like that is that's something for someone with a chronic pain condition. I feel like that's pretty good. And there's lots of other things that I've done over the past 4 years that I wouldn't have been able to do unless I had actually gone to the gym. And it's just been such a change, just because I made that decision. I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what, you got to change something. And if you don't, then, what's the point, I guess. And I'm really glad that I made that decision. And sometimes I think I forget of where I was 6 years ago and how hard I had to fight to get to where I am now. And sure, it's where I am now, maybe in my head it's not where I want to be, but it is 100% better than where I was. And I think it's easy to forget, or it's easy for me to forget that sometimes, because I still find myself feeling very trapped in a house and being incapable of going beyond the borders of the house, because every time I try to go to a church, or I try to meet people or everything, I find myself being pushed back because of how my body responds to the stimuli of trying to meet people, and it's really disheartening. It really wears on me. And I just like, okay, well, how do you meet people if you're trapped inside of a house? It just seems really, it just seems really strange. And I'm I guess that's what I find myself facing now, is that okay, I've gotten myself strong enough. What do you do after that? What comes after this? And now that's sort of the question I am now asking myself, is what am I supposed to do now? What's the next 5 years? What do I see myself for the next 5 years? And that's what I'm asking now, and I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting, like, it's an interesting question, I suppose. And I guess that I guess really all I can focus on is I really need to finish my books. Sorry, Dad. um, and I'll keep on keeping on. This is just I guess I'll just keep doing housework. And I'm glad I'm glad that I've been able to do the things I'm glad that I figured out 6 years ago that that's what I needed to do to get the strength to maintain what I have. Um, I'm glad that I took that step and that I had that courage. Um, that I thought to myself, where do I want to be in 5 years? And I'm looking back, that I said to myself, where do you want to be in 5 years? And here I am 6 years later, and I'm really happy with who I am and where I am now. 6 years later, and maybe I haven't accomplished my ultimate goal of, getting married and having kids, but that's okay. I have accomplished being able to, for 4 years, pretty much every single Wednesday, doing housework. And I feel like that's, for someone with my condition, I feel like that's pretty spectacular. And as well as that, there's lots of other stuff I do. So yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, this is going on long enough. Sorry. Uh, yeah, this is just my stream of weird thoughts about the gym and I suppose maybe loneliness. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah, I don't know what other people think about these sorts of things, but my recommendation is go to the gym. It will change your life. So do that, guys. Do that. Thanks so much for listening to me ramble about this. I really appreciate it, guys. And I'll catch you next time. Please like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. And yeah, bye.